Welcome to the bee yard. This is my second year keeping bees, and I've got a crazy story to tell you guys. So we ended up having one hive that overwintered successfully out of our two. The second one we lost to rodents, and that is that big tower right there. And earlier in the season, when spring started feeling all full of nectar and such, they decided to split because they were nice and healthy. So the original queen we brought to the property took half of her babies and left a bunch of eggs and swarmed. They went down the hill in lovely spring weather a couple weeks ago, and they ended up right here on a tree. So we were lucky enough to have them actually still in the bee yard. And we cut the tree that they were on. There's a lot of little trees at this size. And ended up shaking them off of the tree into this box. And so our lovely overwintered queen lived here for a few weeks, maybe a month and a half. And as you can see, very, very healthy, happy hive. And about a week and a half ago, she swarmed again, which was surprising. So this hive should actually send out some baby queens in a couple weeks here as well. But we found her bearding on the front of this hive, and then she swarmed to that oak right there in this area right at the top. And she was there for a day. We kind of called her lost, but I really wanted her back, so I put together a bucket to catch her. And when we finally got the bucket to the top of the tree to try to talk her into it, she took off and flew all the way down out over the timberline that direction. And we counted it a loss, but we left the bucket because whatever, there's a bucket in a tree. The next day she was back and in the bucket with her enormous swarm. So they must have chosen a location they didn't like as much as having met the bucket before they left, and they came back to the bucket the next day. And that is insane. And so we got the bucket out of the tree and put the new hive. We had to buy a hive real quick because we didn't have any extras ready. And that is what's over here. So this super strong colony that we first saw in the bee yard is the queen that overwintered originally in that hive over there. And she has so far made us 2 other hives, and now is completely filling this hive. There's so many bees in this swarm. And already settled in and happy. I'll need to paint and oil some different boxes and switch them out, but that's our bee story. So yeah, we have our queen bee Lovely that has given us 2 daughters this year, and then we also have another hive we got from our bee friend Brian right here, and they're doing well as well. One of the ways you can tell, so Warre hives, we don't really open and check comb. There's no frames that you can kind of pull out and look. So the best way to kind of keep an eye on your bees with a Warre hive is just check what's coming in and out. And if you end up seeing pollen, legs full of pollen, that means they're feeding brood. So that means that there's a queen in there laying. So instead of looking for a queen and marking her with paint and all that kind of stuff, you just kind of keep an eye on if it looks like they're bringing in what they would need to raise babies, and that means there's babies inside. So that kind of deductive reasoning, instead of opening the hive and changing all of their ability to keep themselves safe. I don't treat for mites, and I'm not seeing any mite problems with these bees. They seem to be able to, they've had a couple mites, but they seem to clean them off just fine and not get overwhelmed in any way. I'm not seeing any shrunken, misshapen wings that come from the virus that the mites carry. So I know that's a big topic with beekeepers, is mites, and I'm really not having any issues with mites, even though we're doing treatment free, which is, yeah. So there's our bee yard. There's my bee story for my second year beekeeping. It's been an absolute pleasure working with these ladies. They're very docile. Again, you don't really open the hives much with this type of beekeeping, so we've got a good relationship, which is they just keep making me more hives in sunny Eugene, Oregon. Thanks everybody for watching. Any questions about bees, let me know. I'm a new keeper, but I've barely been interested. There's one of the ravens. Bye-bye, raven. That raven, or one of his raven friends, I should have been listening to, because the day that the bear attacked the beehives, those ravens were extra talkative, and I bet they were talking about how weird everything was with it being knocked over and stuff. So, always listen to the wildlife. They're probably telling you something. But thanks so much, and I'll see you guys soon.